We're raising a lot of heaven, the country parsons.
Hi, my friends. The gunfights of the Old West have a history of their own, don't they? They rarely had two gunfighters squaring off in the dusty streets. In fact, most gunfights occurred in the heat of the moment. Rustling cattle or robbing banks, outlaws intimidating townspeople. If the townfolk stood up, they faced death. And some died. But standing up made others heroes. Spiritually speaking, there is an outlaw today who is still stealing your possessions. Satan, the outlaw of heaven, is actively trying to remove them from you by keeping you focused on him and the battle. Now I want to remind you that you have godly armor to put on to protect you from the darts of the enemy. Things like love, joy, and peace are your heavenly possessions here on earth as long as you live your life for Jesus. We are able, by God's plan, to destroy the works of the evil outlaw. My friend, as you stand up against the outlaw of your soul, you are the victor. Be ready. You be encouraged.
Agribusiness brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Dennis, thanks for joining us this morning. Popular belief is that we may have had a really rough year as far as the bean goes. I know the corn guys had a rough year, but we're talking about the yield contest that's put on here in the state of Kansas, and you're telling guys still get into that. You may have only 5 bushel beans, but get into that.
Well, that's exactly right, Brian. It is the opportunity for a person that maybe is only producing in a certain part of the state 10 bushel beans, but it's an opportunity for him to take home a cash prize of maybe up to $300. Right. So we want to emphasize that no matter what your yields are in the particular district that you are producing in, that may be a winner. So please take the time to enter the contest.
This is a good year where guys get to could possibly share information. We may have one guy in the district who does 22 bushel and another guy that does 5. It's a good way for them to share ideas and information, wouldn't you think?
Oh, it really is, because at the end of the contest, we will provide information on anybody that enters. We provide the varieties, we provide what the yield was. There's also an oil and protein aspect to this, so maybe the yield's down, but a lot of years in a dry year, that means that the oil content's higher, and oil is what's driving some of the price right now. So they could still be a winner on that part of the contest. There's a lot of opportunities to win: irrigated, dry land, and also what particular area of the state that you're in.
Well, this year, I mean, there has been pockets of rain, kind of late summer rains, maybe helped out a little bit. Parts of the state have been very dry. What are some of the things you're hearing back from the growers this year?
Well, I was just talking to one of the growers just the other day at a meeting, and he said he was glad now that he hadn't decided to bale his dryland beans earlier, because now he thinks they might make 15, 20 bushel. Well, you translate that into the current price, that's still not a bad return, plus maybe those 20 bushels in his particular area will be a winner. You know, it is those isolated rain showers. There's certain parts of the states that are just as green as if it rained every day, which we're now talking northeast Kansas again this year. But there's other parts where they have lucked out, caught a brief shower that helped those beans to survive until not only started getting a little moisture here late August, but also with the cool down now in the temperatures.
I think a lot of this goes back to what the Kansas Soybean Commission and its members who provide money through the checkoff program in research being done at Kansas State and other universities across the U.S., getting varieties of beans that work really well in the state.
Well, that's exactly right. You can buy a variety. Somebody will come along and want to sell you a variety, but maybe that variety doesn't fit your area. I've known this from years of farming myself, that you have to find those varieties that work well in your area. And that's one thing that this contest helps provide, is that information. Okay, this variety is working well here in north central Kansas, but it's not going to work in southeast Kansas. So you have to sort through all the information that we take off this contest, sort through it, because we will provide that at the end of the contest, and figure out for yourself what will work for you.
How can a grower watching the show this morning get information on the contest?
Well, they can call in to 1-800-328-7390, or they can go on the website where the entry form and everything is provided right on the website. Click on that, print it off, and of course then they'll have to contact their local county extension agent who is responsible, or he's the final say, and yes, it's a 5-acre plot, and yes, this is what came off the combine. So he'll have to make that, producer will have to make that contact. But once that's done, it's a very simple process. They can also send in about a gallon size container of soybeans that will be entered in the oil and protein end of the contest. And from there, we will announce the results coming Expo on January 9th this coming year here in Topeka.
Is there a cutoff date? Because there's probably different times throughout the year. Different parts of the state are going to harvest at different times.
Well, there is a cutoff date, and that's November 30th. The entry has to be postmarked by that day. But realize that in this particular year, everybody's going to, it seems like, is going to be done very early, unless all of a sudden we hit a muddy fall, which
Right.
does not look like it's going to occur.
Well, Dennis, thank you for your time this morning.
Well, thank you, Brian. Appreciate you coming.